best part of waking up is coffee in your cup. Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Chris, and today we're talking about colored pencils. Now, I'll admit, I hated colored pencils. I've hated them for a long time. Mostly because, they're the ones I used to use couldn't get as dark as I wanted them to get. I couldn't get the right saturation on them, and every single time I looked at them, they just didn't look right. It's almost kind of like in the same mindset that when you try to do black and white drawings with a regular pencil, you just couldn't get as dark as you can, and it just came out not as good as you thought. But it wasn't until college that I discovered these guys, so hopefully that will get in focus, maybe. There we go. I use these Prismacolor Color Erase pencils, and mostly I've been using the red and blue ones for when I was doing animation and whatnot, so that's why you'll see a lot of blue line drawings in my Instagram account. So, but I've been doing the last 2 years or so is starting using color pencils for my Molly's Follies comics. One I just recently did. Colored pencils, and you can see how vibrant these guys can get. Actually, if I grab some so you can see even this, I did this a couple of months ago, and you could tell that the colors are still vibrant in this, and they are still kind of good saturated for them, and yeah, they keep up and they mix well very and everything. So today I'm going to show you guys how I basically do what I do. Sorry, I'm rambling. It's only 6:30 in the morning. So yeah, so the piece we're going to be doing is this one right here. So let me get one more sip of coffee. Oh, I forgot to mention, big shout out to Honeydrop on Instagram for suggesting this video. Thank you. I know she wanted to know how to use colored pencils, so I wanted to give a big shout out. If you want to see more tutorials on how I go about doing my artwork and everything like that, definitely let me know down in the comments below. And also follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter, especially with your questions. I'll answer them right there and then. So, alright, let's begin. Usually when I start doing the colored pencils and everything like that, obviously I kind of think about what colors I want to use, and mostly the themes of the colors depending on the object itself. We're going to do something really simple. We're going to start with actually the pumpkins here. Just to start, usually the first color I'll do is usually the base color. Obviously these pumpkins are going to be orange. So I'll just actually start kind of going in really quick and fast. As you can tell right now, I'm going very lightly at this point, but once I start filling this whole thing out, then I'll start pushing down a little bit harder. And I'm just trying to get mostly an even tone, give you a sense of how it's going to look so far. And at this point too, if I needed to, let's say I'm not liking this color at all, these guys are a little bit easier to erase. So that's something to kind of think about when you start using colored pencils like these. And I gotta say, Prismacolor is not a sponsor of this channel, but if they're watching, hi. I really do enjoy these colored pencils because they give a really good vibrancy and they mix really well. I think that's one of the keys about doing colored pencils is the fact that these guys really mix very well, and that's how I can get different kind of tones of color out of these, even though they're just reds and blues and everything. Get this giant pumpkin filled in. Alright, so got a good amount. Now I'm going to start pushing a little bit in certain areas and keeping stuff a little bit lighter in others. Usually the darker areas I kind of save for points on the pumpkin or where it's gonna probably be shadows, and kind of try to figuring that out is where like your thick lines are. Like right here it's very thin, so my guess is that my light source is probably going to be coming from this direction. That's why I will keep it light at first, but then when I start to really saturate this, that's when I start adding values to it. So, and after a while you just kind of figure out where it makes the most sense, where it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's what we got so far. We probably get a lot more right here because of Fluffy's character right here, casting a little bit of a shadow. So now what we'll do is actually take like a red. I mostly start with like really warm tones first before. No, I'm sorry. I usually try to stick with like the warm cool method of everything, so I'll stay with warms. If this is orange, you know, I'll have some reds, I use some yellows, warm colors on this to kind of add a little more color and vibrancy to this, and stick with cools like blues and greens and violets. But will mix them up too, and I'll show that a little bit more once I get into more detailed shadows. And even though I stated that this is going to probably be my lighter area, I will actually hit it with a little bit of red in here. This is a scarlet red, so adds a little more warmth to it. So I'm actually going to use probably a bit darker. I use a cumin red to kind of bring out my shadow areas. This is what happens when you get up early. Can't speak. Alright, so as you can see, we're starting to get a lot of really cool tones in here, and I only just use 3 colors. I might actually hit the lighter areas with the what's a canary yellow. Just kind of pop out certain areas. Because I mean, if you even look at a pumpkin too, like pumpkins have different tones all across everything them. So yeah, they're orange, but the different values of orange, a little bit of reds, a little bit of yellows. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, nice. Alright, now got most of the base, and most people will probably stick to just this. You know, looks good. But all I'll actually do is that I'll take a cool color like an indigo blue, and I will go back into my shadow areas and use that as a way to really kind of darken certain areas that I want. And I'm sure you're probably asking, like, why aren't I using any blacks or whites? As you can see, it really kind of adds like a lot of good shadows in here, and you probably would have thought that was black, but I do use blacks and whites on occasion just to kind of enhance it. So like for right now, how it's looking, I might add a little black just to enhance my outline a little bit more. Alright, so like obviously this was really quick and easy, but now it's like how do you choose colors for that will make it look nice together? So since I know this is like a Halloween themed drawing, I'm actually going to be using like mostly purples, greens, reds, oranges, blacks, blues to create some of those tones. So again, for the ooze, I'm going to use a light green. So that's what I really enjoy about creating color drawings like this, because it really kind of pops versus just doing black and white. Like you see, like this thing just pops already. Now, this is how how I usually would have colored pencils look when I didn't fully understand how to use them. But now I'm actually getting to the point where I can just really kind of go in and blend different colors together. So the darker greens will probably go more towards shadow, and then the lighter greens will probably go more towards the highlights. And so this is kind of looking more dull slime. That's what you want to call it. So I'm actually going to use 2 yellows to kind of bring this out a little bit more and to kind of give more of a vibrant color. And you can see it's starting to really kind of add more of that radioactive green. And sometimes what I'll do too is actually I'll take a white highlighter, or in this case gel pens, and I'll just use this very sparingly to add a little more highlights. Sometimes these things will get clogged up, so just be aware of that. But if you just move it up here, kind of to clean it out, probably need to add a little more darker tones to really kind of make the greens really pop out of there. So going back to trusty indigo blue. So one advice I will say, if you want to get into better understanding color pencils and to really kind of better understand color, it's really just experiment with playing around with different kind of tones, seeing what stuff works, what doesn't work, and then apply it to your own drawings. If you're a little hesitant about messing up a drawing that you really like, you can use a sketchbook, like some really quick sketches that you already done, and practice on those. Or you can do is grab one of those adult coloring books. Those are really helpful to definitely kind of better understand what colors work, what colors don't work, without worrying about messing them up. Because I know sometimes you get in this mindset of like, oh, I really like this drawing, I don't want to mess it up. Plus, the nice thing is, these are colored pencils, so you can erase these if you don't like them too much. I mean, the only thing you gotta worry about is if you press too hard at this point and try to erase, you're still gonna get a little bit of that tint of color. Pumpkin's done. I'm gonna move over to my character Fluffy. I think this gets to the point of, this is really easy, like knowing how to do all this stuff, but how you do characters can be a little bit challenging.
Hey guys, it's VoiceOver Chris. I decided to put the rest of this video into time-lapse because we would be here all night. It was going to be roughly 30 to 40 minutes long, so I decided to cut it down for a nice little bite-sized video for you. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about a little quick tips for characters. Number one, basically using the same principles that we did with the pumpkin can be applied to your characters when using colored pencils. Obviously, lightest areas are going to be lightest, darkest areas are going to be darkest. Definitely play around with blending different colors. Like Fluffy, when I first started drawing him, he was a black cat, and he would blend into the background really a lot, to the point where it was just really hard to distinguish him. Then I decided to go with the gray, and then he looked grayer. So I started playing with the purple, and then slowly but surely started to lighten up and become this purple bluish cat. So I definitely recommend exploring your character, play around with different colors, and see what works and what looks really good to you and what's appealing. And the more you draw your characters, the more you're going to better understand their anatomy and how to draw them over time, and that includes their colors as well. So you probably will have a couple, 2 to 3 colors that represent them. Okay, now I'm going to be focusing on Molly. I'm placing a base coat of peach with vermilion around the eye sockets, under the chin, and then going over with a darker indigo to kind of show a little bit of shadow. I don't use a lot, just because she's a younger character. If I do too much detail on her face, it will age her significantly, so watch out for that. I recommend for hair, definitely go in the direction of how hair grows, so stroke away from the top of the head all the way down to the tip. Overall, guys, I would really recommend just to go ahead and experiment with colored pencils and play around and see what kind of colors you can create. And here it is, guys. Here's the final color piece. It came out awesome. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. I love doing these color pencil in the morning, though I will make sure that I don't sound as groggy each time I do these tutorials. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope this helped you better understand how to use colored pencils to make your characters really pop. If you want to see more of these videos, definitely let me know by hitting that like button. Also, let me know what the next tutorial should be down in the comments below. Until next video, guys, I will talk to you later.